OBS, it's a great app. Let's talk about it. This is YouTube done easy. Welcome to Coffee Club. This is your host, Paul Chappell. And today, of course, we are delving into OBS Studio, a great way to capture any device on your Mac or PC. Yes, it's cross-platform, and usually I kind of am down on cross-platform apps, but this one is the exception. It's a really good app. I've been watching Twitch streamers use it for a long time, and I was kind of intimidated by it. I was like, that's got to be a hard app, right? And then I saw this clunkhead on Twitch using it one day. I was like, look, if that guy can figure it out, I can too. So I installed it, love it. Today we're going to focus on just its recording capabilities. I will do another show in the future about streaming because that's a whole nother animal. But you can set up this program just to record and you don't have to dial down any settings like you do when you stream. So I just wanted to go separate those two and kind of give you an idea of what you can do with this app, and then we'll move on to other things. So let's start out first. We are going to download the app. We're going to go to Google, type in OBS, hit enter, and we're going to go to Open Broadcaster Software. Now there's another OBS called Streamlabs. OBS, we're not covering that. We're covering just Open Broadcaster Software. So we're going to click on this, and of course we're going to download the Mac version. So we're just going to wait for it to download. Okay, we're going to click on the little magnifier symbol, and we're going to open this up. Now this is kind of old school. We're going to have to drag the app over to the shortcut for applications. That's it. We're going to close this out. So now that it's installed, we actually have one more little program to install. Now this is the major difference between Mac and PC versions of OBS. It's the fact that you can't easily record desktop audio on a Mac. So you have to install this little program called I'll Show You. So we're going to go back to Google once again. And we're going to type in I Show You audio capture. And just so you know, anything I download in this lesson is going to be down in the description below. So if you need to find it later, if you can't find it in Google for whatever reason, it's down below in the description. Okay, so we're going to go to the shiny white box link. And we're going to hit download installer. And it's going to be really quick because it's only 2 megabytes. All right, we're going to open this up and we're going to install it. So basically what you want to remember, we're going to open this package icon. What you want to remember, every time you see I Show You audio capture from now on, that is the desktop audio. And you're going to hit continue, install. You're going to put in your password to install it. And there we go. We're going to close this, move the trash. Yes, install, move the trash, close. Actually, we're going to keep open the Finder because we're going to need an app called Audio MIDI. Now, you've probably seen this app in some of my other lessons where we're going to go to it again. You're going to go up here to Go in the Finder and go down to Utilities, open that up, and you're going to go to Audio MIDI Setup and open this. Now, what you need to do, as you can see here, I Show You audio capture is installed. You're going to go down to the bottom to the plus sign, click on the plus sign, create a multi-output device, and in multi-output device, I Show You audio capture already checked for some reason. You're going to click on I'm going to click on my headphones because see, here's the problem that you might have when you're recording audio from the desktop. If you allow it to emanate from your speakers, you have this danger of the audio bleeding into your mic. So you don't want that. You want it to go to your headphones. So I'm going to click on my HyperX, and that's it. Now you can rename this, but I'm going to just leave it as multi-output device. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to System Preferences and Sound, and I'm going to change the output to multi-output device. Now you can get to this in the menu very easily, but you have to check this little box down here that says Show Volume in the menu bar. Close this out. And as you can see, it appears in the menu. And so anytime you need to just change something out, instead of open up System Preferences and doing all that, you just click on this. But it's already selected because we selected it. I'm going to leave it as that. We're going to minimize Safari, and we are going to open OBS for the first time. Go to Applications. It should be in alphabetical order. Here it is. I'm going to right click on it. Here, open. Close that out. Okay, so if this is the first time you've installed this app, you're going to get this auto configuration wizard. Is going to ask you, optimize from streaming, recording is secondary, or optimize just for recording. I will not be streaming, or I will only be using the virtual camera. I'm going to pick the second one, obviously, because we're just learning how to record this lesson. And what it's going to do is it's going to test your system to kind of figure out what the settings need to be. So I'm going to hit next. And it's asking me if I want the current canvas. Canvas is the little area that you work in. Use current. I'm going to say yes, 1920 by 1080, even though the screen on my Mac is 5K, which means it's 5120 by 2880, but we will solve that problem in a minute. We're going to hit next, and it's going to test our hardware. Just give it a minute. Okay, so as you can see, it's using a 264 software encoder. That's good. High quality, medium file size. That's good. The canvas resolution is 1920 by 1080, and the output resolution is 1280 by 720. FPS is 60. So I'm going to just go ahead and hit apply settings. That doesn't mean I won't change this at some point, because I think I want the settings to be a little bit different. But this is just to show you how it's done. Okay, first thing we need to do, we need to go to settings. In fact, well, let me make this a little bit bigger. We're going to go to settings and change a few things. Now, if you don't like dark mode, this is where you change it. It's going to be dark by default. I'm just going to leave it dark. And we're going to skip over screen. Obviously, we're going to go to output. You're going to go up here to output mode and change it to advanced. And we're going to, again, we're going to skip over screaming because we're not screaming this lesson. We're going to go directly to recording. And we're going to change the type to custom output. Output the file is fine. As you can see here, the file path is going to just put your video in the movie folder. Now, usually if I have an external drive, I would choose that because you don't want these files to be on your main computers. They can get really, really big and you'll run out of space and it'll just slow your machine down. But for this lesson, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to go to the desktop and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it OBS Tutorial, and I'm going to hit create and hit open. Generate file name without space, that's not going to be an issue, so I'm just going to skip that. Default format. Now, what you want to do, there's a lot here. I'm just going to choose MOV because that is the format that programs like Final Cut Pro like to use. You can also use MP4, but I prefer MOV just because, like I said, it works better with Final Cut Pro. Now, for video bitrate, you can go pretty high depending on what kind of computer you have. Now, if you have an iMac, one of the newer iMacs, a 5K iMac, you can choose something like 40,000. Okay, but the lower in specs your Mac goes, you want to downgrade this, and you need to do kind of a test to determine what the best number here is. You can determine that by file size and other things, but you really just need to do a few tests. You can go as low as like 15,000, whatever. But I'm going to go with 40,000. Rescale output, I'm going to put it at 1920 by 1080. Bitrate is fine. Audio track. I'm going to have 3 audio tracks, I think. Yeah, there should be just 3 for what I'm doing. And that should do it. We're going to go to audio next. We're going to leave that at 48 kilohertz. Channel stereo is fine. Desktop audio. Now, I've done a lot of research on this little section, the global audio devices, and I'm really not sure what it's for. All it seems to do for me when I designate my inputs here, it just confuses the program. I know there's some big reason to why you'll use this. I haven't figured out what it is. It's basically you have a certain amount of inputs that you're going to record, and you can go ahead if you want. Like I said, I'm not recommending it, but you can go in here and choose all those defaults that you want. So for instance, my primary mic would be my Rode mic right here. And my desktop audio, of course, would be I showed you. For some reason, it's not showing. There it is. So my desktop audio would be I show you, because remember, the I show you audio capture is how you're capturing your desktop audio. Okay, so desktop audio too, that would be obviously disabled. I have a second mic that would be my Rode mic, my other Rode mic, and that's pretty much it. I also have AverMedia for PlayStation capture for audio. I guess I would choose that as for 3. The point here is, though, you don't really need this because you're going to put in your sources in a better place. And like I said, it would just confuse your mixer when you change the names and whatnot. So, well, I'm just going to go back in and hit disabled on everything. Because like I said, I haven't really figured out a reason why I necessarily need to use this. So everything disabled there. And now we're going to go to video. It says base resolution is 1920 by 1080, which is fine. It doesn't go any higher than that. It's not going to record. Actually, it does go higher than that. But I'm going to leave it 1920 by 1080 because that's the aspect ratio that's closest to my 5K resolution. Output, I'm going to actually put this back on 1920 by 1080, even though it's going to change the file size. Now, that's one thing you got to remember about any program like this. The more quality settings that you use, the bigger the file is going to be till it gets kind of unmanageable. So you kind of want to weigh what's better, what you kind of want in the end. It's a constant balancing act. The reason I'm making this the same is because I just want that resolution to be the same, closely related to my monitor as possible. Okay, downscale filter. Now, the best one to choose here is Lane Culls But I'm not going to choose that either. It's going to make the file way too big. I think bicubic is fine. And this is why I'm making these changes. I'm not going to use 60 FPS. The only time I would use 60 FPS is when you're recording the actual game. Most consoles, that's the default. If I'm recording a show, I want this to be 30. Okay. Hotkeys, we're not going to really mess with that. I'll let you learn that on your own when you have time. Advanced. There's really nothing in here that I feel like it needs to be changed. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, we're pretty much set up. The only thing you probably need to understand at this point is how OBS actually works. You have something called scenes. Scenes are just a profile of the sources that you're capturing. For instance, you can have a scene. Let's just go ahead and start off. I'm going to rename this to PlayStation. Let's say I have a PlayStation scene. What do I need when I'm recording from a PlayStation? Of course, I need to be recording the PlayStation screen, plus the audio, and plus I'm probably going to need to record my mic. I'm not going to record the desktop audio because we're not going to be working from the desktop. So that's pretty much 3 inputs. So what you would do is go over here to sources, and you can click on this plus button, and you're going to start adding your inputs. I start with the audio, so I'm going to go up here to audio input capture. And I'm just going to hit OK, and it's going to give me a list up here of inputs it's reading at this current time. The first one I'm going to choose is my Rode mic, because that's what I'm going to be recording my voice on. I'm going to hit OK. And as you can see, it's already reading my input right here. Okay, so I already know just from using my mic all the time that it records a little bit hot, especially since I got the gain up a little bit. I'm going to go click on this gear icon. This is the options button. I'm going to go to advanced audio properties, and I'm going to put in -6 dB is about right for this mic. And I'm going to record this mic on the first track and the second track, and I'm going to uncheck all these other tracks. Now, what are tracks? This is referring to audio tracks. Now, in most video editors, you want the audio tracks to be separate so you can putz around with the levels and that kind of sort of thing. And sometimes you can even omit a track if you don't like it. So that's what you're doing here. That first track, though, is where I'm going to record everything, because there's certain programs that only look at that first track in the audio, apps like QuickTime. So you want every mic to reference number 1. But we're going to be dealing some more of that from here on out. So we'll just cover that as I get to it. But I know I need to offset my sync a little bit. I already know the number. I'm going to put in 266 here. Now it may vary according to what mic you're using and what equipment you're using. So I will be covering this in a future lesson. So all that's done. I'm going to rename this Rode Mic 1. Okay. Now what I have to do is I'm going to have to actually start my PlayStation. Let me go get the controller. Okay, so while it's waiting to boot up, you can still go ahead and add the inputs because it is plugged into my Mac with an external capture card. So what I'm going to do first is go to audio input capture again, hit OK. I'm going to choose Live Gamer Portable 2 Plus AverMedia. This is my AverMedia card, capture card that's hooked up to my PlayStation. I'm going to click on that and hit OK. And as you can see, it's already picking up the PlayStation sounds. So I'm going to click on that gear again. I generally want my game audio to be a lot lower than my mic audio. So I'm going to take this down to -12 dB. And again, I'm going to put that offset at 266. And as I said before, I'm going to leave this on the first track. Second track is already occupied by the Rode mic, so I'm going to uncheck that. I'm going to uncheck all these other ones. So again, when you record, the first track will be the complete mix with all your sounds. There will be a second track in your file for the Rode mic or your primary mic, whichever one you choose. The third track will be the PlayStation music, PlayStation sound effects, whatever. So I'm going to close this out. Okay. Now I'm going to add the video from the PlayStation. I'm going to go to video capture device, hit OK, and I'm going to choose the Live Gamer Portable 2 Plus AverMedia once again. And as you can see, the highest resolution you can get on the PlayStation is 1280 by 720. That's fine. Go ahead and hit OK. As you can see, it doesn't quite fill my screen. I'm going to pull on the corner right here and enlarge it until it does fill up my whole canvas. Now, I'm almost done, but I did forget one thing. I want to record myself while I'm playing the game, right? So I need a camera. I'm going to use the camera just on my iMac. So I'm going to go back down here to sources. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to go up to video capture device. Hit OK, and it's going to go to the list again. I'm going to go to my FaceTime HD camera, and there I am. Now, I usually don't use this camera for anything because the resolution is only 720. The newer Macs have 1080p cameras, I think. I'm going to resize this. I usually put it right around here. Okay, so there we go. Then I can just go ahead and start a game. And when I'm ready to record, I'm just going to hit start recording right here. So let's record something really quick and see how it works out. So I'm going to play something called Grand Theft Auto, if I can. And as this thing's booting up, let me just take you back here. As you can see, we have two video inputs with the same name. Now, how do we know which is which? This is how we know. If you hit this little I symbol right here, whatever input this is will disappear. So I automatically know this is the input for my camera. Now, funny thing happens. If I move this, you can move these inputs up and down. If I move this input down, look what happens. It disappears. So you want your camera to be on top. And whatever's on your canvas, you want it to be right below your camera because it respects the hierarchy of your inputs. I already know this is my FaceTime camera. I'm going to go ahead and rename it FaceTime camera. And then, of course, I know the next one is going to be the PlayStation screen. So I'm going to name that PlayStation. And there you have it. Now you know you don't have to think about it. One more thing I want to cover about sources. Let's say you actually want to change the input. Let's say I want to change my mic for whatever reason. I can click on my mic and go up here to properties, and it will give me this again, this list of devices, and I can go ahead and change it right here and hit OK. But I'm not going to change it, but just so you know it's there for any of these things. For my FaceTime camera, I can go in and I can change it to another camera that I have hooked up. It's that simple. You just go to properties. So let's kill some stuff. Now, funny thing is you won't be able to hear the sound right now because I don't have the sound actually coming out of any speakers. That's fine. You know why I know it's fine? You can look down here and see that my Rode mic is recording and my second audio input, which is the PlayStation, it's recording. It hasn't changed over yet to, actually I didn't change the name of that. Let me go ahead and rename this to PlayStation Audio. And as you can see right there, it is recording the audio from the PlayStation. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, let me see. I'm gonna do some craziness. I'm not gonna kill anybody. I'm just gonna scare up some stuff. And maybe steal a car or two. Boom. What is this, a Subaru? It's a terrible car. I should have stole something fancy. Okay, so that's that. And I can have fun with that out. Oh, who's this? Why did he fall? I didn't shoot him. Did I? Okay, so we're going to start recording. And I'm just going to get out of the game. So, when you hit start recording, it's going to save the file wherever you told it to save. So it's right here on my desktop. Let's go ahead and play it. I'm going to open it with QuickTime. I'm going to actually turn on my speaker so you can hear the sound. So I'm going to play something called Grand Theft Auto. Skip ahead a little bit. Say you actually want to change it. Let's actually, let me see. Uh-oh. So I didn't hear that music playing. That's one thing you want to remember when you're recording from the PlayStation with a game like this that plays all this music. You want to turn off that music because you will get a copyright strike. I'm not gonna kill anybody. I'm just gonna scare up some stuff. And maybe steal a car or two. And there we have it. That's a simple recording from OBS. Looks pretty darn good, I have to say. I could actually just upload that to YouTube. I mean, I would probably want to do a little editing first, but you see how great the quality is. I got my camera. My camera actually looks pretty great. I mean, I'm surprised it looks so good. Of course, I have these great lights, but yeah, so here is the kind of configuration I would have if I was just doing a normal show. I would call this show. Maybe I'll just call it Magic Hour Talk Show. So the sources I would add, of course, would be, let me add my rope. Now, as you can see here, if you've already put in an input, it will appear in your list right here. You don't have to go back to the list if you're adding the same one to a new scene. So I would click on Add Existing and click on the Rode mic and hit OK. And there it appears in the mixer. If you click on this, you click on the options, it has the same setup that I had in the other scene for the PlayStation. Okay, so I'm going to put in that. I'm going to capture my desktop, my display. I'm going to hit Display Capture, hit OK. And of course, now something I need to be clear about here. I actually have three choices for what display I want to choose because I actually have two different monitors hooked up to this computer. I have a Vizio right above, and I have this LG television I have mounted on my wall. So as you can see here, I can choose either one of those. Because if I choose my main display, you're going to actually see this in the display. And as you can see, you got to resize it. Let me go ahead and do that so you can see what I'm talking about. First thing you want to do is resize it to your canvas. Okay, so you can see the program, what it's recording. But like I said, if you go ahead and put it on another monitor, you can, and you have to resize this one too, but I can put all my content. Let me show you what I mean by that. So let's say I open up Safari. Let's say I'm going to put this on my second monitor. I'm just going to drag it off. And as you can see, it enters. Let me hit OK right here. But it enters that it's on my second monitor now, up here. So I can go ahead and like make this a little bigger. Let's say I'm doing a show where I'm showing stuff off on YouTube. So the next thing I probably want to do is go down here and I want to do another audio input capture for my desktop. And remember, I show you audio capture. That is your desktop audio. So I'm going to click on that, hit OK. And I'm going to rename this desktop audio. And I'm going to also do a video source, my FaceTime camera again. I'm going to go to add existing FaceTime camera. I'm going to resize it again. Now, I don't know. Now, this is kind of a setup. If you watch Hassan Piker, who's a Twitch guy, this is the setup he has. He'll have his camera down here in the corner, and then he'll have his browser, and he'll show like videos on Twitter and YouTube and other things, and he'll be responding to it in real time. So that's another setup you can do. You can do a show really easily right here. And like I said, if I don't want to see myself for whatever reason, I just click on the eye and I'm gone. So let's go ahead and record something. First thing I want to do, I want to put this so it's going to record the desktop audio. I want to go back to this main screen and click on multi-output device. I'm going to go back to the other monitor and I'm going to click on home. I know my trailer is going to play and it has some music. But as I said before, I don't want this music bleeding out onto my mic here. So I'm going to listen to it on headphones. But when we record it later, you will be able to listen to it. Okay, we're going to stop it there. I'm going to hit stop record and play it back. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Forgot to turn on. Every time you want to listen to it, you got to go back to internal speakers. Onto my mic here. So I'm going to listen to it on headphones. But when we record it later, you will be able to listen to it. Okay, so my clapping was a little bit off. I might have forgot to my clapping was off because I forgot to put in my offset sync. So I'm gonna go back and do that. This is why you need to kind of test stuff sometimes, because you forget to turn on a setting and then it completely kills your whatever broadcast you're making. So that's pretty much it. We're set up. We're ready to go. Those are two setups that most people use, either for a game or, like I said, a talk show, whatever. But yeah, that's how you would do it. There's a bunch more you can do with this program. It would probably be another hour, 2 hours just to go over every little detail. I've even figured out how to record iPhones using this software. It's just a great piece of software for a cross-platform piece of software. It is one of the best I've used. So yes, there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, whether you have any questions. Ring that bell if you're already a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe. Give me a like, give me a dislike, whatever. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.